Good morning, rock and metal fans. Welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Reviews. Today we're going to do top songs of 1979. So it's going to be our top 10 of 1979. So remember, this is my favourite songs. There's no right or wrong answer like I do with my top albums of the year. These are just my personal favourites. So please, put in the comments below what your favourites are. Give me some suggestions of what you think I might like, and that'd be great because there's been plenty of that going on. I love that. So, but remember that these are just what mean the most to me. So yeah, I've got 10 songs. There are some songs that some bands that appear a couple of times in this list, as did 1978. So we're going to go from number 10 to number 1. Remember, these are all my favourite songs, so none of these are bad songs for me. My number 10 doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's my least favourite song of my top songs, if you like. So number 10, Rainbow, Eyes of the World. So Ronnie's left the band. Graham Bonnet's come in. Not everyone could get along with Graham Bonnet. I suppose he didn't have that... He didn't look right for metal, especially at those times. It was all about looking a bit manly, wasn't it? And wearing the leathers and the studs and all that business. And he looked a bit, conservative, I suppose. But he had a great voice. He really did. It must have been so hard, though. Following Ronnie Dio. But he made a good effort. Obviously, the band had a couple of singles at this time. But my favourite song on this album is Eyes of the World. Off the Down to Earth album. I do like the singles. I think it's just been, I've heard them too much. Obviously, since you've been gone all night long, I just think it's just, I don't need to hear them again. But I think Eyes of the World probably had the most epic feel on the album. It was the least commercial song, I suppose. It was the most, the one that sounded like previous stuff from Rainbow. But it was a good track. It was easily the standout track for me on Down to Earth. So that was my number 10. My number 9 of Van Halen 2 album, Beautiful Girls. So I don't think Van Halen 2 was quite as strong as their debut album, but it was still really strong in the same vein. One of the best albums they've done still. It carried on with, obviously, Eddie Van Halen's excellent guitar playing. It was a real fun album, just like the first one. And I think this sort of sums Van Halen up, this Beautiful Girls song. I was looking through the album itself and I could have chose a lot of tracks. But this one, I don't know, it just, like I said, it sums Van Halen up, their sense of humour and all that. I think it's a really good track. So this album is full of good tracks, but Beautiful Girl comes in my number 9. My number 8, Foreigner, Head Games. Like I said in my 1978 ranking the songs, that Foreigner, especially in their earlier career, they really brought out some good singles, and they were the standout tracks. A lot of bands did that back in the day. Whereas now, when I listen to albums, I'm really into the deeper cuts more. But I think the singles, especially from Foreigner, were really strong back then, and Head Games was a real standout track on this. Probably a little bit more commercial than their last album or so, but I love, this is actually one of my favourite Foreigner tracks. I love it. I think it's a real step up in quality for them as well at the time. My number 7, Scorpions, Always Somewhere. So yeah, Scorpions really know how to do a ballad, don't they? And this is no exception. I love this song. I think this was on the back of, it might have been Another Piece of Meat single when I first heard this. It was obviously it was on a B-side of a single back in the day, and I fell in love with it. I was only fucking 9-10 years old, but I just thought it was outstanding because it was a little bit different. I think bands at the time, ballads were sort of like, bands were sort of afraid to do them. But Scorpions done them in a way where they wasn't cheesy or soppy or anything. They was proper spot on with real good acoustic guitar playing. Classic song, Always Somewhere. Absolutely brilliant. It really hits you with that chorus. It's funny, isn't it? If you actually listen to the beginning of Always Somewhere as well, it really sounds like Simple Man by Lynyrd Skynyrd. I don't know if you've ever played them next to each other, but it really sounds similar. But Simple Man's an excellent song as well. But Always Somewhere, what a great song. Right, number 6, Thin Lizzy, Waiting for an Alibi. Now, talking about going back to when I was younger and I first heard singles, my brother had this single. I remember it. I think on the back of the cover, it had like a cartoon. I'm sure it had like a cartoon of the band, like a comic strip. I can't remember, but I used to remember seeing it, loving the song. And yeah, Thin Lizzy were another band, a bit like Foreigner, that I think their singles were some of their, not later on, but early on in their career, the singles were some of the strongest songs. I think, was it the Boys Are Back in Town was on an earlier album, but this was the strongest song on Black Rose for me. Easy. Really loved Waiting for an Alibi. I think it really sounded, that's like a cool sound to it, like a lot of Thin Lizzy songs had a really, it was really cool to listen to. It had a smooth sound. His voice helped, obviously. He didn't have the greatest voice, Phil Lynott, but it really fitted in with Thin Lizzy's sound, and you couldn't have had anyone else, obviously, doing that. Absolutely brilliant. My number 5, Whitesnake, Walking in the Shadow of the Blues. So this off the Love Hunter album. I think I really liked this album, but it wasn't consistent. But there was a couple of tracks that were really good, and Walking in the Shadow of the Blues is the standout one for me. Long Way From Home was good as well, but it didn't quite make my top 10 nearly. But Walking in the Shadow of the Blues, it really shows Coverdale's, what was to come as well. He was a brilliant singer then, but over the next few albums as well, what an excellent voice. One of the best voices. Obviously, now if you listen to Coverdale, if you go and see him live, I saw him at Donington, I think last year, and his voice has gone, it's near enough gone completely, but I think these bands, they should carry on. A lot of people haven't seen them and get a chance to see him, who gives a fuck? All right. If you're going to see him sing like he used to, don't go. If you're going to look at the spectacle of seeing Whitesnake again, which I did, loved it. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. Number 4, AC/DC, Shot Down in Flames. What a brilliant song. What a brilliant song. The Highway to Hell, I think it came as my, I think it was my top album of 1979. It's full up with excellent songs. Shot Down in Flames is so heavy. Love the riff at the beginning before it goes into the song. Absolutely brilliant. Bon Scott, superb, brilliant singer. One of my favourites. Number 3, of Van Halen 2 again, Light Up the Sky. This has come as sort of a bit of a cult classic, I think, for Van Halen fans, this song. It wasn't a single or anything. I think they played it in their last tour, which is a few years ago now. But yeah, this album, really good, full up with really good songs. Light Up the Sky is more more of a serious side for Van Halen, I suppose. Really heavy, great musicianship all round. Absolutely love it. My number 2, back to Scorpions again, and Holiday. So I said earlier on about how Scorpions do a ballad. I remember seeing, I think it was on the Worldwide Live video back in the day. We used to play it non-stop. And Klaus Meine was talking about Holiday and when it was written. And you really get the feeling when you listen to it as how the song is meant to be. It makes you feel like you're, in a foreign country. He's spot on with that, You just listen to it and it really makes you feel like you're somewhere else. They transport you to somewhere else. Absolutely brilliant. And obviously, when they started doing the live version, they started cutting out the end of it with a heavy bit. I love this original one with it has to be this. It has to be. It's such a classic song. It reminds me of their earlier We'll Burn the Sky, that sort of classic sound with the acoustic guitar, then coming in with the heavy guitar, and then the way it goes out with the same acoustic guitar again. Holiday is brilliant. My number one for 1979, back to AC/DC again, and Walk All Over You. So this is I chose this out of the AC/DC album because I felt it gives something different from AC/DC. You know, AC/DC are always accused of fucking, like, you know, doing the same song and the same riffs, and, you know, just over and over again. I think Walk All Over You definitely gives you something different. You know, it is purely AC/DC, but it's definitely a different structure of the song. I remember I used to be with my mates playing the Highway to Hell album. We used to, like, fucking go out with tennis rackets and bits of wood and play the drums and shit. We used to play the album from beginning to end, knew every word, and this is what I used to get up to when I was like 10 or 11 years old. But Walk All Over You, I think it's just got so much fucking energy. The whole album has, but that, especially the last verse, before, you know, the last verse before the song plays out, it's like got such a build up, and Bon Scott's voice, well, I can't get enough of Walk All Over You. I think it's it could be one of my favourite tracks of all time from AC/DC easy. Right, so that's my 1979 wrapped up. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, these are my favourite songs. I'm sure you're going to point out some ones that I missed, or maybe I haven't heard. But, you know, I probably heard them, some of them, but they didn't make it into my my top tracks. You know, these are just mine. And these ones, especially earlier on in the late 70s and early 80s, they bring back a lot of memories. And, you know, as I'm looking through some of the songs and trying to look what ones to put on, it is like brings out a lot of nostalgia going on here. So absolutely love it. So right, thank you for listening. Please subscribe to the channel. I know not a lot of people like subscribing, but if you could do that, press the red button in the bottom right hand corner of the channel, and I'm doing videos all the time, so it'd be great. Right, see you next time. Cheers.